Welcome to Would I Lie to You, the show in which it pays to be economical with the truth. On Lee Mack's team tonight, a man who recently received a prestigious award for slapstick comedy. It was a real pat on the back, followed by a kick up the bum and a pie in the face. It's Bob Mortimer! And a comedy actress. A comedy actress who collects vintage clothes for a hobby. Have a look in David's wardrobe, you'll be in for a treat. It's Catherine Parkinson. And on David Mitchell's team tonight, a sports fanatic and one of the finest BBC presenters. Football, cricket, boxing, just three of the things she could beat me at. It's Gabby Logan. And a wildlife expert who is always on the lookout for strange and unusual species. So, if halfway through the show he throws a net over Lee, we'll know why. It's Steve Bagshaw. And we begin, of course, with round one, Home Truths, where our panellists each read out a statement from the card in front of them. Now, to make things harder, they've never seen the card before. They've no idea what they'll be faced with. It's up to the opposing team to sort the fact from the fiction. Gabby is first up tonight. Gabby, please reveal all.
I once had to give Alan Hansen a piggyback across a muddy car park because he didn't want to ruin his new suede shoes.
Please, team.
Who is Alan Hansen?
He was...
Are you serious, by the way?
No.
Oh, OK.
No, I think he's the handsome Thunderbirdy one.
That's right, yes. Yes.
Where was this?
Old Trafford.
That was the muddy field?
No, the car park outside of Old Trafford.
Oh, it was the car park of Old Trafford.
It was a very wet, typical kind of northwest day. And
Let's not be northernist.
The car park was actually flooded in some areas and quite wet. Yeah. And we'd had an evening match. It was an FA Cup replay, and he was joking about his shoes, and I, for a laugh, said, "Just jump on."
And how far...
How do you think I got to host match of the day?
How far did you take it, him?
It wasn't far. We'd just come out where the studio is, and it was probably from here to that camera over there. Mark Lawrenson said, oh, don't worry, Gabby will give you a lift. And I said, I will. I'm strong.
So Mark Lawrenson suggested it to Alan Hansen.
No, because...
Jump on her back.
Who is Mark Lawrenson?
Al said... Oh, hang on a second. Al said...
Please don't start impressions, because he will... That's all I ask for you tonight. Please tell me what the callback was.
Is it all right if I jump on your back, Gabby?
Is that Mark Lawrenson or Alan Hansen?
And Mark Lawrenson went, hey, go on, jump on her back. And you feel like you were there, don't you? You feel like you were there.
If you're going to come on your John Hyacinth, you've got to be absolutely sure you're John Hyacinth. You don't you made a fraudulent head or move till you go say what you see anyway. It doesn't matter there. You've got to come from the back and get up front. 2 words for you, Duncan Bannatyne. That's it. Alan Hansen is, that is, woeful defending. What?
Woeful defending.
Woeful.
What are you doing now? That's Harry Seacombe.
So, I still want to focus on the details.
OK.
Has Hansen in any way given you any warning, or has he just lunged and jumped?
To be fair, he did. He kind of went, oh, she wouldn't be able to carry me, and that was a red rag to a bull. I just went, yes, I will.
God, that sounds awful.
I don't know. I get used to those kinds of requests at work, you know?
So what do you think? Could she have done this?
Well, I mean, I'm still not entirely sure who Alan Hansen is. I've got very confused with all these different impressions because they're all quite different.
Well, there's just picturing Duncan Bannatyne. Right. Who always go like, oh, yeah, I do this one of us. Doing it anyway. I'm out. Yeah. So what are you going to say?
I wish Alan Hansen had a catchphrase. That would have helped me.
He did. You'll never win it with kids.
You'll never wear anything with kids.
You'll never win anything with kids.
That's a phrase you don't want to be taken out of context.
He was referring to Manchester United, who
have children playing for them.
All right, what's it going to be?
I'm sure it's true.
You think it's true?
I don't think it's true. Sorry. I just have this feeling deep inside that Alan Hansen and Mark Lawrenson don't speak to Gabby.
I know what you mean. I've been swayed now.
So, since I don't know who any of these people are, maybe you should go with Bob.
OK. Bob will take leadership.
OK.
And responsibility. As we say, it is a lie.
So, Gabby, truth or lie?
It is a lie.
Oh.
Yes, it's a lie. Gabby didn't give Alan Hansen a piggyback across a muddy car park. Bob, you're up next.
As a teenager, I used to terrorise my neighbourhood with a game I invented called Theft and Shrubbery.
What were the rules of theft and shrubbery?
Can I first of all say my memories of this are a bit sketchy?
Always handy for this game.
Yeah.
No, but I'm an older gentleman. They're more like just fingerprints on an abandoned handrail. Just very distant.
Even while you poetically describe the ageing process, another part of your brain is inventing the rules of a fictional game.
It's Theft and Shrubbery.
Yeah.
It's a game that I played in my youth, in my teens, on the Lakes Estate in Middlesbrough. I would probably be 14 or 15. I hope that's all the information you need.
As to what this game involved.
Yes, of course.
Of course. In which case, I'm satisfied and there's no need to tell me. What were the rules?
There would have to be a gang of you. I would usually be with Staver and Bagger.
I didn't realise you knew hobbits as a child.
Neil Overall, Jerry Dungaree's son, of course.
Didn't take his father's name.
Hated him. Hated him. So, and Gary Cheeseman would be there. The reason he was called Cheesy is because his mum used to give him a cheese. Do you know the cheese slice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
To take out with him when we were hanging around the shops and that, because she thought it was good for his spots. She wanted him to first cheese slice.
Surely it's because of his surname Cheeseman.
No.
Surely that was part of it.
Do you know, Gary Cheeseman was a big lad, yeah? A very big head. Sniper's dream, they used to call him. He's such a nice... The thing is, he's such a nice lad. And he was a...
I love these points in the show where we say, Bob, let's all gather round the fireside. You can tell us tales of your youth.
So the rules of the game, of course you will not.
Theft
The
and
rules of
shrubbery.
the game. Theft and...
Shrubbery.
Shrubbery. But relatively simple. You had to creep into the back of someone's house and observe the family watching the telly or whatever they're doing, yeah?
It's getting a bit sinister now, Bob.
Yeah, I know.
Is this at night?
This is on the evening time, yeah.
So the family, as it were, backlit by the domestic lighting.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you'd find one where the curtains were open, yeah? Go to the rear of the garden and then you'd slowly walk towards the window, right? Try not to disturb them, and you'd chant, increasing the volume as you went, "We do beg your pardon. But we are in your garden." And then you gradually get closer and closer to the window, and as soon as you were seen, that's when shrubbery comes in.
Which was what?
You were not allowed to escape via the front of the property. You had to go across all the fences. Because you're teenage, what you're really waiting for is someone to make a noise or give yourself away, so that you all have to go run through all the gardens.
That's the shrubbery part.
That's the shrubbery
What's the
side.
theft part?
The theft is... We just always felt that we were stealing something from them. I don't know.
privacy.
Their privacy, their dignity.
So you're going up the garden saying louder and louder, "We do beg your pardon, we are in your garden." We do beg your pardon, we are in your garden. You're shouting.
How loud did you
Elderly
get?
people who are hard of hearing, you could be going, "We do beg your pardon, we are in your garden," before they notice it.
Yeah.
This game can't have lasted I'm imagining very long before people kind of rumbled you and...
No, it was just one of the games, that we did. It could be theft and shrubbery night. There was another night where we used to take fruit from a fruit vendor's wagon and throw that up in the air and just let it drop on our heads.
Something tells me you played that quite a lot, Bob. Next time, don't use melons.
Cheeseman was very good at it.
So what do you think, David?
Steve, what do you
My
think?
concern is that the details are so utterly believable and sound like they're real that if it wasn't actually a game, he spent an awful lot of time looking through people's windows.
I'm coming down on the side of truth.
Yeah, I know it sounds odd, but I just believe it.
Are you going to say truth?
Yeah.
OK, so, theft and shrubbery. Bob, truth or lie?
I was telling the truth.
Our next round is called This Is My, where we bring on a mystery guest who has a close connection to one of our panellists. Now, this week, each of David's team will claim it's them that has the genuine connection to the guest, and it's up to Lee's team to spot who's telling the truth. So please welcome this week's special guest, Miller. So, Steve, what is Miller to you?
This is Miller. He presented me with a trophy after I rode 2 miles down a river on an inflatable rhino.
Gabby, how do you know Miller?
This is Miller, and I know Miller because we often take one of my dogs flying.
And finally, David, what's your relationship with Miller?
This is Miller. I accidentally outbid him for a cuckoo clock when I sneezed at an auction.
So there we have it. Lee's team, where do you want to start?
Should we start with... Who do you want to start with? Steve?
Yeah.
So, just remind us again, because I'm confused with the words.
So he gave me a trophy after I rode 2 miles down a river on an inflatable rhinoceros.
What a man.
Catherine, did I ever tell you about the time I rode down the river on a real rhinoceros?
On its horn.
Just saying.
Why have you kept in touch, Steve?
We haven't.
Did you not like him?
It takes place in Fort William in Scotland, and I very rarely go there.
And is this an annual event?
Yes, it's the river that runs down the side of Ben Nevis, which is a whitewater river, and it's run on lilos, usually.
I've been on that. Amazingly, I honeymooned very near there.
You weren't there at the time that this event was taking place?
No, but I know that is true, that Fort William is near Ben Nevis, so that bit...
This is the bit I'm worried about now, because I need your help, and so far you go, oh, this is true, there is a mountain.
What's such a big deal about Miller that he got to present the trophy?
That's very aggressively put.
What does Miller do?
The race is run to raise money for the Le Carver Mountain
sailed.
Rescue. It's paddled to raise money for the mountain rescue. And,
what a man.
Miller's...
Was everyone else on an inflatable animal?
Everyone else was on lilos.
As in the traditional, what I'm thinking of as a lilo is just like a bed that's inflatable.
Traditional, what you sleep on when you go camping.
So it's a fun event where it's like the water equivalent of a fun run. You've got to try and stay on in a hostile environment on a lilo that's not designed for it. Yes?
So why did you choose to do a rhino?
I was going off script. I went down to Toys R Us to try and get what I thought would be... I wanted to get an inflatable T-Rex, but they didn't have one. They just had a rhino.
So you're saying there's a great big Toys R Us next to Ben Nevis?
That's not true. That's not true.
All right, who are you going to move on to?
OK, Gabby. Tell me again. Something about dogs flying.
Miller has his pilot's licence, and we take my dog flying occasionally.
We?
Me and Miller.
You two take the dog?
Yes, Miller flies the plane.
And what do you do?
Right,
You're a passenger, or are you learning to fly?
No, I'm not yet. I'm not learning to fly yet. But,
That's instantly much more credible, because I thought you meant that your dog flew on its own. So I'd already excluded you from this, but now I understand.
It's not you who wants to go, it's the dog that wants to go.
No, initially I wanted to go. It was an accident the first time. He kept his light aircraft at an airfield, and I was taking the dog for a walk in a park nearby, And basically, I was supposed to meet my husband to hand the dog over. He'd got delayed, and I turned up and I was about to say, I'm really sorry, it's not going to happen today, I've got the dog. And Miller's up for it, and he said, just bring the dog with you.
Right.
And that was the first time.
So then what happened the second time?
Well, the dog just loved it. The dog, like, you know...
Did it tell you?
When this man approached you with a plane nearby, you were happy to assume he was a pilot. Take your dog up.
we pre-arranged the whole thing.
I don't think you've told us the breed.
Boxer.
Boxer.
Yeah.
Boxer's a big dog.
Milo's a boxer.
Big dog, a boxer. Does he wear a seatbelt?
Yes, but he doesn't... honestly, he's so laid back. He just kind of, sinks into the seat and...
He wears a seatbelt?
Well, you strap him in.
He's put a seatbelt on.
Are you sure he's not terrified?
He's never peed himself on these little hops.
Yeah, but what about the boxer? OK, so this is the bit now, it's the detail. It's the seatbelt.
Well,
a dog in a seatbelt.
A seatbelt on, because the first time, because I didn't know, you know, if he'd react OK, so I, being his, you know, his mummy...
No, you're not his mummy, Gabby. Your husband is very ugly.
No, but in his...
Final question. If there's a bit of turbulence, do you ever turn around to him and say, is it windy, Miller?
Now, what about David and the cuckoo clock?
Oh, wow. Now, there you go.
Well, I'd be interested to know what your accidental outbid was for what amount.
I think it was about £250.
And had you been bidding up to that point and then stopped?
I had not.
You'd not bid at all?
No.
What were you there for?
I was there because my wife wanted to buy a dining room table.
MFI was shut, was it?
No, because as you've had occasion to mention, Lee, I'm terribly, terribly posh.
Right, and so you could feel it coming on as the bit... And were you worried that this was going to...
Well, no, I wasn't. I didn't think this would happen. I thought it was a ridiculous thing to have happened. If you told me beforehand, would this happen, I'd say, no, I would never believe anything like that could happen.
You have to convince us we're struggling.
Yeah. I get hay fever at some times of the year, and this was one of those times.
You're not going to end this story weirdly. Every time I sneeze, I hold up a number.
I didn't hold up the number. I sort of had the number there, but I didn't hold it up.
What did you do then?
I sneezed.
Surely if the system is you hold up a number, at some point your hand must have come up as well.
You're echoing my very words. That's what I said. Of course, it's a ridiculous situation. Someone sneezes, they just happen to have the number slightly visible and the auctioneer takes that as a bid. What sort of a system's that?
Let's have a quick reenactment of the moment. I mean, you were at 240 pounds going to the gentleman in the nice, soft, crushed velvet. 250 pounds!
What kind of system is this?
How lovely that David Mitchell has bid for this and the money will go to a good home. Thank you, David.
Oh, no, please, auctioneer, but... Oh, all right, I'll be quiet. This is so embarrassing.
So how did you make the connection with the Miller?
Because I was aware that he'd made the penultimate bid, but I tiptoed up to him afterwards and asked if he wanted to buy it for the...
For his last bid?
For his last
Which
bid,
was
so
what?
I would only have been, I think, about 10 or less than I'd bid.
But if you exploded that, I don't believe you would have tiptoed.
And I probably didn't actually tiptoe. I wasn't actually... You know, I was probably resting on the heels of my feet. But I walked what I thought was quite discreetly, although I accidentally bought a couple of vases on the way.
All right, we need an answer. So, is Miller Steve's prize presenter, Gabby's pet pilot, or David's clock collector?
Well, I believe that he gets hay fever, David, but none of the rest of it.
So you believe the cool thing?
Yes.
So, Catherine, you're saying it's not David?
I don't think it's David. I believe Steve's won trophies, but none of the rest of it. So I believe Gabby. I think that all sounds
You
very
believe
true.
she likes to take a boxer dog flying?
Yeah.
With Miller?
Yeah.
I don't think you can take a dog on a plane, you know...
What
You
you
can take dogs on planes if you go through the correct channels.
Really? You
They
can?
sent a dog into space.
They never got it back.
They sent a dog into space.
I don't believe Gabby's story, but I do think he looks like a pilot.
That's the... Now, you see, if we're going to talk about looks, I would say it's the only time I am going towards David. He looks like a man who's desperate for a cuckoo clock. He looks like a man whose budgie recently died. And he's looking for some company once an hour, but just for a split second.
I'm with Gabby.
You think it's Gabby. You're saying...
Let's say Steve.
When all three of us are agreed it's not David.
Yes.
Yep.
We're going with Gabby and the flying.
You're saying it's Gabby, it's the dog in the plane. Miller, would you please reveal your true identity?
OK, I'm Miller. I presented Steve with a trophy for riding down a river on an inflatable rhino.
Yes, Miller gave Steve a trophy. Thank you, Miller. Which brings us to our final round, Quickfire Lies, and we start with... It's Lee.
Last month, I was honoured to be made captain of my netball team.
David.
How many players are there in a netball team?
What?
How many players are there in a netball team?
You didn't let me finish the sentence. Last month, I was honoured to be made captain of my netball team. Shortly afterwards, I was sacked after I picked the wrong amount of players. That was my problem as captain. Never knew.
I'm fairly sure.
Five.
Five. Is that
No.
No.
Wait,
Well, go through the positions for me then. Will you remind me again what they are?
Afterwards, having a drink now.
You playing with two less than most other teams.
That's why we were so good. I'll tell you what it was. There was quite a lot of players, and I was as captain. I was getting people on and off all the time. And
So you lost track of how many were on.
You had rolling subs, did you?
Rolling subs. Yeah, that was her name.
Never heard
That was her
that
nickname,
netball.
anyway. She waddled on like that. Come on, let her have a go on rolling subs. She got the nickname because she'd eat too many Subway sandwiches.
What's the name of the team?
Well, I go by their initials. One was called GK. One was...
What's the name of the overall team?
Yeah, that's what was on their overalls. No, it was... so the team, they were all women, apart from myself, because I'm a man.
So it wasn't a men's netball team, it was a women's netball team with one man.
But I was asked to
What
be...
position do you play?
I played the goalkeeper. Not the net keeper. That's the mistake I made.
Goal defence? No, you have a goalkeeper and a goal defence.
Do you?
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
I don't think we established the name of the team. They must have had a name.
So basically, I will now come up with 6 names of girls.
No, we don't
The
want
team name!
Team name!
Otherwise, I'd have said, what were the girls called? What is the team name?
Like there's the Surrey Storm.
Oh,
so with these ladies.
I got it. It was the Surrey Storm. It wasn't.
It wasn't. That would be too much of a
It
coincidence.
was Isha Ladies.
Isha Ladies.
I was very strict about
You
can
are.
we change the name to Isha.
This is a curious turn of events. How did it come about?
My wife is in the team.
So are you, remember?
Well, I was in it for a short period of time, I think you'll find, because this was only last month, so I've only just joined it.
But you've been immediately made captain.
Listen, the first day I turned up here, I was made captain. What's the difference? Some of us just have a present. I genuinely am not allowed on boats anymore because people keep pushing me at the front and say...
So you're allowed to have 1, 2, 3... Could you have 7 men playing in the Ladies' League?
No, you're thinking of the men's league.
In this ladies' league, how many men are permissible per
Usually,
team?
under normal circumstances, 0.
Right.
But they made an exception.
Did they not
because
notice you were a man?
The team loses every single week. And they've become a bit of a joke in the Surrey's Ladies' League. So I turned up, they were a player short, and they said, look, you know you're going to lose, you always lose. Why, is there any chance at all we can just have my husband playing as well? I went on, and I wouldn't have got on, but Rolling Subs was feeling a bit sick. She'd had 5 that day, she was shoveling them in. Oh, you go on, Lee, I'm having another one. And so I went on, and they said, it was a little bit of a token thing, they said, let's make him captain because of his large hands. Captain Large Hands, they call him.
So what are you thinking, David? Is this true?
What do you think?
It sounds remarkably untrue.
Do you think it happened?
No, I don't think it happened
I don't think it happened.
You're going to say it's a lie? All right. Goalkeeper, truth or lie?
This is, in fact, a lie.
Yes, it's a lie. Lee is not the captain of a netball team. Next, it's Catherine.
No matter how hard I try, I can never properly pronounce the name Mick Hucknall.
David's team.
Well, you seem to pronounce it perfectly there. I mean, it's similar to Mick Hucknall, but
With an E and an R in it.
Yeah.
Well, I would pronounce Mick Hucknall as Mick Hucknall, and Mick Hucknall I pronounce as Mick Hucknall, and that's the problem.
The Simply Red singer. So who's the singer with Simply Red?
Mick Hucknall.
You can say Mick Hucknall, but not when you mean Mick Hucknall.
That's right, yeah. When
What do you have to mean in order to say Mick Hucknall?
Mick Hucknall.
Right.
And who is Mick Hucknall?
I've never met.
It's not a name one needs to say, unlike Mick Hucknall.
When I
you meet
say
someone
Mick
called Mick
Hucknall, I
Hucknall.
mean Mick Hucknall, but I've never met a Mick Hucknall, which
But you
I would spell
you
like
said when you say Mick
Hucknall.
Hucknall, you mean Mick Hucknall.
That's right.
But when you
It's a
say
bit
Mick Hucknall, you mean Mick Hucknall. So what you were saying then is, when you say Mick Hucknall, you mean Mick Hucknall, which means you can say Mick Hucknall to mean Mick Hucknall. So you're fine. It's a lie.
But when I say Mick Hucknall to you,
Yeah.
pronouncing it correctly, I'm imagining it is spelt like Mick Hucknall.
But in order...
look at me,
in
you're
order...
And then other words you get completely...
There's things like spontaneous. I know I'm not pronouncing that in the correct way.
What are you actually trying to pronounce there?
If something's a spontaneous event or spontaneous
Why
combustion.
don't you try and say
Spontaneous.
spontaneous, and then you can explain to Gabby what you mean by spontaneous.
No, I'm spontaneous.
Were you relieved when Simply Red disbanded and stopped releasing albums?
I was relieved, and but it's a problem as an actress when you have to sort of read scripts and you can't. So I have to
Regularly
have them
Mick
rewritten.
Hucknall.
You could concentrate on working in sort of classical theatre before, because I don't think Shakespeare mentions Mick Hucknall more than a couple of times.
A script
a really
without
good
his
tip.
name in it, though, is Simply Red. So what do you think, David?
What do you think?
I think it has a ring of truth. I just can't imagine you having to say Mick Hucknall that often.
What do you think, Gabby?
She says Mick Hucknall so beautifully.
I think you're through it, and it's great that you could share it tonight, but I think it's only in honour of Catherine's full recovery we have to say that it's a lie.
Oh, OK. Catherine, truth or lie?
That was, in fact, a lie.
Oh, that noise signals time is up. It's the end of the show, and I can reveal that David's team have won by 4 points to 1. But, of course, it's not just a team game. My individual liar of the week this week is Gabby Logan. Yes, Gabby Logan, a woman who could lie for England, which is quite an achievement, considering she's Welsh. Good night.